Good morning,
Good
Kyle.
morning, Kyle.
Good morning.
So this morning, Kyle, we have a few questions to ask you. So you are a wrestler and you're 28 years old. When exactly did your wrestling passion start?
I started wrestling when I was 5 years old, but my passion started maybe when I was 14. I wanted to be the best.
So you started at a very young age. Did you join wrestling because you enjoyed a good fight?
I joined wrestling because it's what my dad told me to do. I played American football and wrestling my whole life.
So today you're here for the Olympic Games in Paris. Did you try out the French breakfast or did you eat what you're used to eating in the USA?
I I ate some of the French breakfast, but I usually just eat eggs, potatoes, and meat. But I had some baguette, fresh baguette as well. It was very good.
So I imagine that as a wrestler, the way that you nourish yourself is extremely important, Kyle.
Yes, weight is important, and the way that we eat can make a big difference in our competition.
Do you have, so Kyle, my question is when you train, do you have a routine that you need to carry out and you work on it regularly, or do you do different things during training? How exactly do you proceed to prepare for the championships?
I have a routine, but we also, our wrestling there's a lot going on and there's a lot of different positions you can get into. So, I have a training plan and program, but also you have to be ready for any position.
So, Kyle, how do you feel about the fact that you've been selected to participate in these Parisian Olympic Games?
It's a blessing to me because I love wrestling, but I know that God, is in control of everything. So to be on the Olympic team and be able to compete is a huge blessing from God. So I'm just very thankful for that.
So it's interesting, Kyle, because you didn't use the word I'm here by chance or by luck, but you said it is a blessing that I am here. So do you believe that God is the one who sent you here to participate in these Olympics?
I do. Yeah, he's in control of my life and he's in control of the world and he's got a plan for everybody and that's what I've come to know.
So, Kyle, you're officially in Paris. When did you land here?
We landed yesterday at 10 a.m. and we got to the village around 11:30.
We hope that you are going to enjoy your stay in Paris. Earlier, you mentioned that it's a blessing for you to have been nominated to participate in the Olympic Games here in Paris. So, Kyle, can you tell us, has Jesus always been part of your life, or did you have a moment where he became more real to you, where you decided to have a more intimate and personal relationship with him?
No, he wasn't part of my life growing up. I pretty much just cared about sports. But when I was a freshman in college, around 19 years old, is when I committed my whole life to Jesus. I had a big wrestling match my year of college, and I was very depressed. And I always struggled to compete best in competition because I was very nervous. But after this, I was encouraged to give my whole life to God, and I prayed that I would be committed to Him than else. And Jesus has helped me with everything since then.
So, Kyle, can you tell us what has changed in your life since you made that decision?
I am less to compete, more my potential to the ability that God has in, and then I'm not jealous anymore. I have more self-control and patience and kind towards other people. So he's changed my whole life.
So, Kyle, would it be safe to say that God is kind of like your personal coach?
Yeah, God is my best coach. I pray and ask for him to help me in wrestling with technique, and I know that he does. My focus every day is to do what God wants me to do and to live according to his will. So when it comes to competition day, it's the same thing. To me, it's no less of an important day than any other day. So that helps me a lot when it's time to compete.
Kyle, is there a Bible verse that you love especially or that is dear to your heart?
There's many. I think one of my favorites that I always remember is Galatians 2:20 because it's the commitment of a Christian and what it takes to follow Jesus.
Kyle, is there any time where during a match, for instance, you especially felt the presence of God?
I'd say it's more so leading up to the match that I'm praying and focused on God and asking Him to help me and rehearsing the plan that He's given me in my head. And then when I'm on the competition mat, I just think that He allows me to stay focused because very rarely do I have mental gaps in the match, which is helps me a lot.
Kyle, you were mentioning earlier how God is with you all the way leading up to the match. And so we just noticed that your preparation is different from other athletes.
Yeah, I know there's actually a lot of Christian athletes that think and compete the same way that I do, but it's just wrestling to me is just what God has called me to do, and it's how He is teaching me about Him. So I think that's where my perspective would be different than maybe other athletes.
So, Kyle, is there any way in which we can pray for you? What's your expectation for these Olympic Games 2024?
Yes, just pray that training continues to go well until I compete on August 10th and 11th, and then pray that God would be honored through my performance and that Jesus would be glorified in everything that I do and all that I speak. And also pray for my family back home, my wife and babies.
Thank you so much, Kyle.